Follow podcast. It's a podcast of Gillum Springs Baptist Church, and we are thankful you're here with us. Joining me today is Kendall Patterson. Kendall is one of our students. She has grown in this church, and we're going to talk a little bit today about some changes that are happening in your life. For those of you who don't know, Kendall is the daughter of Jeremy and Amanda Patterson. Jeremy serves as our executive pastor here at Gillum Springs. And the season you guys are in, there's a lot of change. There's a lot of things happening. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
So my dad obviously he was called up there to take a position, and so we're moving my whole family up there. And so it's just been a bit of a doozy, a road that we went on, but yeah, so we're moving to Montana.
That's crazy. So you were born, you've been raised in Alabama, you know Alabama, and now at 16 years old, you're moving to Montana, a completely different place. I know we're going to talk a lot about what that looks like and some things that maybe you're processing through. But tell me a little bit about that first conversation y'all had, that this was even something that could be a thing.
Yeah, so my parents were like, okay, they told me and my brother, and were like, we need to talk to you. And we all called it. Like, even my brother, he was like, oh, we're moving to Montana. Because it's been tossed around in my house my whole life, because they have a piece of, like, that's their heart, is Montana. And so when they were like, yeah, we are thinking about moving up there, I was like, okay, yeah, like, this has happened before. We've thought about it, and it fell through. So I was like, you know what, this is going to fall through. I don't have to worry about anything, this isn't going to happen. So yeah, that's kind of like what happened. And I was just like pushing it out. I wasn't going to think about it because it wasn't going to happen in my eyes.
Yeah. Well, the Patterson family, y'all been serving in Montana your whole life for the greater part of 17 years at the point when we're recording this. So a lot of people, when they heard the news, weren't really that surprised. I mean, it's kind of been a joke for a long time. It's like, well, when are the Pattersons going to move to Montana? But for you, you've heard it so many times that it sounds like you just kind of like, oh, okay, it's just another time we're going to almost go to Montana. Well, then you guys go to Montana and you meet with people and you talk to a church and he preaches and there's a vote. And then all of a sudden, you're actually going to Montana. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what that felt like.
Yeah, so as the week went on, I could feel it. I was just like, oh, we're moving here. Oh, no. Because there was just something, like, even though it was, like, confusion when we first got there, like, is this so? Is this not? It was just, like, as the week went on and we met more and more people, it was just like, this is where we're supposed to be. And when the news, like, when I first was like, okay, this is actually happening, when the vote was, like, cast and he was like, I'll take it, I was a little mad, not because of anything, but that was just, like, not something I was ready to deal with. And going into here, I was like, I'm just going to have a couple months here in Alabama. Like, why would I move again? And so that was, like, scary for me. Like, all the thoughts, like, everything I've ever known, my friends, like, my connections, like, I'm all moving away. And so that was, like, hard for me to, like, understand. So I was definitely struggling there with just, like, the new beginning. I wasn't ready for it because this was what I wanted. And I was comfortable where I was at. And I didn't want it to change.
I think there's probably a lot of people who are dealing with that. They're comfortable where they are and they don't want things to change. When in the ministry world, whenever we move positions, we say that we're called to a position because we recognize that the Lord has placed us where he wants us to be. And this is exactly what that is. The Lord has called not only your dad, but your family to this new season. Whenever you hear that word called, what does that mean to you?
Being sent. Go therefore and make disciples. Mm-hmm. We are being sent. We are being called to go. And it's like Montana is not like the South. Like, people, they don't know the name of Christ. And that's, like, crazy to comprehend. But it's like, I'm going there to be a messenger. Like, I'm being called there. Like, this is like, I'm needed there. That's what that means to me, is like, I'm going out there to make a difference. I'm being out there. I'm being called. I'm being sent out there.
That's amazing. Well, we've served in Montana for a long time, and we've been privy to a lot of research. And in one of the most recent research studies, it's shown that in different parts of Montana, depending on where you are, there's a less than 5% rate of salvation in that state. Evangelical Christians, it's less than 5%. And that is just crazy. And it's awesome to see people who are willing to go. We say this all the time here at Gilliam Springs, is that you hold every person with an open hand. And that's easy to say, but it's a little bit harder whenever it's you. So have you seen the Lord speaking and working specifically in your family through this? And if so, what have you seen?
Yeah, so as I said before, is like it was comfortable. I feel like for the past couple months, it's been really comfortable, and like we as a family could live here our whole life and be okay with that because it's comfortable. But it's been such a we have always been close. Like that's our family unit, all 5 of us, me and my brothers and my mom and dad. That's like us. Like we love to hang out. But this has grown our relationship to a different level because it's not only tested, it tests everyone's faith. And when you put a bunch of people who are getting tested all together, it creates a little bit of conflict. And so just going out your daily life and being, what are you struggling with? Like having those open conversations of, how can I help you today? What are you going through? Is just very important because this is all different for everyone in my family. Yeah. Like everyone's struggling with something. It's not going to be the same for the other person. And so it's just made us closer because we've had to reach out and check on each other because we're thinking about this. You're processing and you're wanting to hide. You don't want to admit what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to hurt the other person with being scared. I'm scared to go. So it's being really open with each other has made us grow together.
I've been thinking about it since I heard the news, and I've just been thinking about all of your family and thinking about this idea of calling, this idea that God will call us to do things, and it may not be easy. A lot of times God calls us to really hard things. What's been the hardest part of this?
I don't leaving people behind.
Yeah.
That's been a struggle because I left public school when I was in 8th grade, and that's just crazy to see how God has used that for now. It's if I did not take that act of obedience, then where would I be?
Yeah.
I would be struggling so much more. If I did not obey him then I would run into a bump now. But I feel because I'm not in that setting, it's not as hard as it could be. And I'm blessed because of that. But just connections with people. As I get older, I've had connections with people that someone may not have as a younger person. So I've just gotten to know people really well. And that's so hard to leave going somewhere you never know. And so that's my thing is I'm struggling. And then I love being active and stuff. And you can be active in Montana, but there's just something different about being comfortable and knowing your stuff and just your daily life. Everything will change once you go up there. So it's thinking about what's going to change in your daily life. That scares me a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been.
That may be what the answer to this question I'm going to ask, but has there been a moment, and what has been the thing that has caused the moment where you say, God, I will go, but this is hard. You look up and you're like, God, I want to be where you are. I trust you, but I don't get this. Have you had a moment where you were just I don't get this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Almost daily, I'm what is happening? Because I have a great job. I'm plugged in. I have a great church family. I have good friends. I have good resources. So it seems silly to leave that. It's why would you do that? And so I've definitely, that's been something to me. It's just obviously I'm about to leave to go to college after I get my associate's degree, but it's just been I was prepared for that. In my head, I was planning that. but this wasn't in my timing, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
God's timing. So this threw the wagon wheel off my wagon because I was like, I'm sorry, God. Like, what are you doing? So it's like definitely changed that. I'm like, what's happening?
You were cool with change as long as you made the decision about what that change was.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there are people all over the world who are experiencing exactly what you are. Like they have this idea of, okay, I'm cool with change as long as it fits within this sphere that I've created. Yeah. But then whenever things get thrown off, it's really hard. But I've watched, and I'm sure you have too, the Lord does so much more in our weakness than he does in our comfort, right? Yes. So whenever you think about Montana, just generally, like you've been to Montana several times, more than most people your age from here. What do you think is going to be like the hardest adjustment?
Relationships.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because I'm a people person. I love to talk to people. I will talk. But there is something about like having a genuine relationship with someone. Like there is a like surface level relationship and then there's a deep relationship. Yeah. And that's something I thrive off. I have to have that deep relationship with somebody. And so because I'm only there for a short period of time, I'm a little fearful of making those relationships because, like relationships take time. And so that scares me because I'm like, I'm only going to be here for so long. How am I going to do this? Like, what am I going to do? So that definitely scares me because, again, I'm such a people person. And, just I have a perfect job here. I have all this stuff. Like, I'm financially stable, and then here I am going into nothing. Like, I don't even have something planned out. And that scares me. So that's kind of...
Whenever you think about that, we've said it a few times that it doesn't make sense. You have all of the things that most people would want here. And there are going to be whispers of people who are going to say, that doesn't make sense. Why are they doing this? What would you say?
It's not about me, though. Yeah, it's for his glory. And if I'm comfortable here, then I'm not where I'm supposed to be. If we are comfortable, that's not right. Like, you need to be a little uncomfy in every situation, I truly believe. And that's just what you're doing. Is like, why am I comfortable here? Yes, I'm impacting lives, but think how many more lives I can be impacting.
Whenever you think about, I'm hearing you, and your story says that you were really comfortable before all this, before you found out, before all the things, like you were in a season of comfort. And then now your world's been turned upside down. I think about that, and I can't help but think there's a message for people. I can't help but think that there's something that people need to hear, in that at the point when we reach that level of comfort, maybe we should be concerned. What do you think? Do you agree?
Absolutely. There is a season... There's always, a season where you need to be, a trial process, where you need to reevaluate yourself and, just sit and grow. That is okay to be comfortable. You need to be comfortable sometimes because sometimes you're burnt out. And so I feel like for this season of 7 years that we've been here, this has been very comfortable, and it's really, it's been healing to our faith walk. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like we could stay on this route and be totally fine, because that's just normal. But this is not who we were called to be.
That's so good. I wish more people would look at life that way. I wish more people would think, I'm going to heal. Maybe I've been hurt. Maybe I've gone through some things, and I need time to heal. But I'm going to put things or parameters or boundaries in my life to where when I've healed, I go back out, as opposed to just staying still. So I think that our adults need to hear that from you. I don't think it's just our teenagers. I think it's our adults. I think it's anyone within earshot of this conversation, because 16 years old, you have a safe place. You're loved. You have all the things that most people are pursuing. And you did. You needed that time of healing. But then now you listen. You were listening for God. I wonder sometimes if God is speaking to us, but we're just not listening because we don't really want to. So I want to, obviously it was a family decision, but I want to tell you that I think it's awesome what you're doing because it doesn't make sense. Because that's who we're called to be. There are so many people who need to hear the gospel. There are so many people who need to be loved like Christ loved his church and his people. And it's going to take people like the Pattersons who are willing to go outside of that comfort zone. And that doesn't mean they have to move to Montana. That just means they have to be willing to be awkward. They have to be willing to have conversations that are uncomfortable. They have to be willing to serve. They have to be willing to go, whatever it may be. But they just have to listen. And God will tell them exactly where they're supposed to go. So I think this is awesome. And I'm like so many others. It is not surprising. It is who you guys are, and I'm grateful for you. But if you were talking to someone who they hear the Lord, but they're choosing to tune him out, what would you say to them?
For me, when I first, a couple months ago, found out about this whole thing, I was choosing to tune it out, but it felt different. There's a feeling that you just know, like the Lord will let you know. And he was trying to let me know. I just wasn't listening. I was like, no, I want you to stay. Like, I want to be comfortable. I was really, like, content with where I was at in my life. And I was like, things are about to change. Why do I need more change? And so that was, like, I was struggling with. But as soon as I went and saw and put myself out there, I was so nervous, like, on the way over there. I was like, this is going to be so awkward. Like, what am I going to do? But as soon as we got there, it was, like, peace. It was, like it was like a family I never knew, but they loved me so much.
That's so good.
And it wouldn't have been, like, I needed someone to help me realize that. Obviously, God helped me, but he put people in my way to help me realize that I needed to go and see for myself. And so once I saw the potential, I said, why God, am I doubting you?
That's so good. I wish more people were willing to do that. Just go. Whether it's on mission, whether it is to serve, whether it's just to give the church a chance. There's so many people who have had bad experiences in the church, and they've said, I'm never doing that again. And they're miserable, or they're going through life so, like, without any type of guidance. And then they long for community, they long for the Lord, they long for his word. But because of something that's happened, they've decided that that's what every experience is going to be like. They've decided that every church, every minister, every Christian is going to be that way. And that's just not the case. So I kind of parallel your experience right now with so many people who are just refusing to give the Lord a chance because they think they already know what's going to happen. And I think what you have found, and what so many others who have put their yes on the table has found, is that what is there is not what they thought was there. So hopefully you guys build relationships quick, and we're sending you. Like, that's how we look at this. Yeah. It's not that you guys are leaving. We're sending you to go. So that means that you haven't quite got rid of us yet. So, but, so in all of this, as we come to a close, what has the Lord taught you in this season that you think somebody else needs to hear?
It's okay to be uncomfortable. That has definitely been my main thing because, again, this whole time we've talked about being comfortable. And when people say, oh, I'm in a comfortable place, you don't realize you are until something like this comes up. Because, like, I could go another year and be like, I'm fine. Like, this is good. And then when this happened, I was like, this is not good. So just do things that make you uncomfortable. That sounds crazy, but let God lead you. Stop leading yourself. You can't hold the leash for yourself. You got to let God do that. So that's something that I would just recommend. Like, let him plan your path. He's done it your whole life. He's done what he wants for your life and what's good and what's glorifying him through you. So why are we doubting him now?
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sitting down. Thank you for putting your yes on the table to go serve your family. We can't wait to help and to walk alongside and do all those things. But I think that for the people who are listening, the greatest thing you can take away from this is to allow the Lord to lead you, and don't be afraid to be uncomfortable. So thank you guys for listening today. We pray that this encourages you and it maybe pushes you along to seek out what the Lord has for your life. Thank you guys.